Welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. This is episode 35. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Okay, that was that. I can't tell if I like that better or not. Episode 35. I don't know what that means. It's over a month. 35.
I'm excited. I'm excited for 36. That was always my ball number.
Yeah.
When I played ball, and it's baseball, not basketball. When people say, "Hey, you want to play ball?" It's never basketball.
I don't think it's either baseball.
It's always baseball.
Can't it just be anything?
Dude, I have my lucky BJ mug right here. Okay, I got my lucky BJ mug.
Let me see. What is a BJ mug? I'm actually relatively curious. What? Can you not hold it up to the camera?
It's a classic
Blue Jays. That was not where my head was going, Tyler.
What else would BJ mean? What else?
Bro Jangles. I don't know. I got nothing.
Bro Joseph.
Yeah. All right. So let's get it. Quick shout out to our patrons. We got Dai Katana with the Superstar upgrade pledge this week, and Fier and Salvatore. Thank you both for joining the Patreon team. If you have any, if you're curious about it, you can check it out. Links below. And thank you to everybody else that's listening and all of our other patrons and everybody. You guys are all awesome. So
100%.
We normally jump straight into our week, and we wanted to just take a quick minute at the start of this podcast. We don't typically do things that are, happening out and about around us. We like to stick to the Path of Exile stuff, but we just wanted to quickly express our sadness in the passing of Reckful. He's a big time Twitch streamer. He was a WoW player. He was really big in sort of the creating really of Twitch and how it started off. Tyler may not have had a chance to watch him much. I'm guessing probably not, eh?
No, not me.
Yeah, but he played WoW. I used to watch him back when I played WoW and his streaming. And, like I said, as Twitch was growing, super positive guy, just a really sad situation, resulting in this really cool person leaving way, way, way too soon. He was 31 years old. So it's pretty sad. So
that's hard.
I just want to take a minute to hope people can, chill a little bit and practice empathy. It's kind of something that's been bugging me this week on a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. But you don't have to agree with everyone, and people need to understand that the internet doesn't require other people to agree with you to be able to have conversation, relationships, or whatever. Empathy is just trying to understand the feelings of another, and the internet sadly can be a super hateful place. And if somebody is suffering already inside their own head with voices that are, not positive, it can be a real big negative influence to have people on the outside doing that, just way worse. So just be kind, think of others. And if you can't be positive or a little bit empathetic, don't say it. Don't type it.
Yeah.
Really, really simple. And really a big, just note that if you are, struggling with any sort of mental health, reach out, find somebody to talk to that you trust, that you can connect with, that you can share and talk, and don't feel, don't feel embarrassed about it, because it is a really big deal and people need to take it seriously.
Yeah. I personally deal with post-concussion syndrome, and the known suicide rate for people that deal with that is very high. But I can't tell you how many people benefit from, my struggle per se. I'm honest with you. We have the best friends in the world, and we talk openly about so many different things. But when you hear about other people's struggles, you realize you're not alone. I had somebody PM me this week in Path of Exile saying they also struggle with Path of Exile, and they just spent half an hour writing me just an encouraging note. They've never met me before. They signed with their real name, not their POE name, someone I've never met. And when you're honest with people, it changes them. Your struggles help them, because they're not alone, you're not alone, and you help each other, you learn each other. We're not here to change each other, we're here to love each other.
That's right. And it is a really serious thing. I mean, Tyler definitely knows. This December will mark the 10 year of losing one of my good friends to suicide, and it's not a cool thing to go through. It is, mental health means a lot to a lot of people, and it really is important that if it's something you're struggling with, just go talk to somebody, find somebody you can really connect with, and, understand that there are going to be shitty days. We're whatever we are, 37, 38. I have been super fortunate that I don't have a whole lot of that issue, but in my family, we certainly have. and there are days just suck, but there are always good days coming. So talk to somebody, find somebody that you can talk to. And we don't want to, fester on this or talk a lot about it, but it was important for us to just say something because there are a lot of people that struggle with mental health and, get help. I really hope people talk to somebody and try and sort that out.
If you are one of those people that are listening and don't struggle with it, just understand that you never know when you're going to be that one extra straw on, the camel's back that breaks it. Just kindness. You won't go wrong with kindness.
And it will be a slight undertone to a lot of our conversation today. And it's going to come up a little bit later because I have been stewing this week. This is one thing with a podcast. We talk once a week about everything that's happened. You got people that are like streaming and doing YouTube. They get to talk about it every day. So I build up, and it's not often where something's got me like itching for Friday because I just want to get stuff off my chest. So anyway, let's go into this week. What was your week like? Tell me about it.
Well, coincidentally, I had a brutal week.
Oh yeah?
Oh my goodness. I am like this week, I'm just burnt out.
Yeah.
Man, it was just one of these weeks where I'm just happy to sit down. Like this is the first time I've sat down since our last podcast, and it's just so nice to hang out.
Nice.
But it was one of those things where like this week, like I'm a stay-at-home parent, and I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like I want everybody to go back and watch that 1983 movie with what was it, Michael Keaton, Mr. Mom. Oh man. It's been a week. Well, it's been a long time, but like it was one of those weeks where it was just like full of ups and downs too, right? Like at some point in the week I was like, man, okay, like this guide stuff's good. It's like nonstop encouragement. I could probably do a guide a week, even though just a league or two ago I cut down because that was too many, but I'm like, yeah, I could do that. And then the very next day I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't even do 4. And then the next day
what does a guide a week mean to you? What does that mean? Sorry.
I meant to guide a day for the week. So that would be having 6 guides. I'd Sabbath on Sunday or whatever day my wife and I choose to Sabbath on, but then I would have, my 6 guides. Mm-hmm. Right. But then of course, when reality kicks in, I remember how I freak out post patch notes before league launch on how I have, so anyway, it was just a week. So this is going to be like my relaxing hangout time with you.
Yeah.
So it's been, and I see your note.
Okay. Do you want to know go ahead, ask me about my week. Well,
it's been raining a lot.
I know. So my first point doesn't even count. I'm going backwards. Go ahead.
So with my battery lawnmower, I'm not even going to be able to finish my backyard, let alone my front yard with the amount of grass I have to cut, with the amount of sun and rain. It's like 10 feet high. So tell me about your week, or should I just say grass?
Well, this week, okay, I don't remember. I should have looked it up, but to the person who made the comment on, because we put this onto YouTube, mostly because people were getting angry that it wasn't. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're very lucky and special because we make sure it goes out to YouTube. But anyway, somebody said, hey, in the episode, you were like, well, nobody wants to hear about my grass. And then we went on to the episode and they were like, actually, I do, I'm starting a project. And I was like, hit him up. I'm going to talk. I'm going to tell this guy. Anyway, the thing that sucks though, is we did have literally a week of rain. So I'm in the process of redoing my front lawn. Now I'll keep this brief, but where I live, I have 2 neighbors directly across from me and they're lovely people. But they're retired and they have nothing but time, and their lawns are spectacular. They're just lovely, lovely lawns. And my backyard is great. My kids get to play in it. I'm keeping it at 2.5 inches. If anybody's wondering, it's a Kentucky bluegrass at 2.5 inches, easy to take care of, no problem. The front though, I really want it to be like, I want my neighbors to lust over my lawn. That's what I'm aiming for here. So we have to actually do some work coming up on the one of the retaining walls on the side. So I was talking to a friend tonight actually about getting a Bobcat or a big machine in there. And this, in like what are we, July 3rd? If you're listening to this right now, happy New Year's. No, happy New Year's, Jesus. I'm so excited about grass. The 4th of July. to our American listeners. It's either tomorrow or yesterday, or I don't know. For us, it's tomorrow. Anyway, August, first week of August, they're coming in with a machine and they are leveling my whole front yard, which is taking up all the grass. It's all getting pulled right back down to the dirt.
Oh,
I'm going to put down new soil.
It's already so level.
No, I want it flat, Tyler. It's not level.
It's your backyard that needs to get flattened.
No, my backyard's fine. The front yard, I want it to be flat because I want to get a real mower going. And I'm going for like, it's disgusting. I understand. Nobody cares about this except that one person. And right now he's like, I love it. I like it. Yep. Anyway,
worth it.
That's what I'm doing.
It. This has been dedicated to you.
And then I also, all my stuff came in to finally replace the water for my water cooling loop. And I don't know when I'm going to find time to do it because it takes 24 hours just to run the cycle to clean it. And then it's another like 6 hours to actually drain it. So my goal is to crush this episode, crush After Dark, edit them real fast, and then my computer is going to go down all weekend so that I can get it ready so we can hang out on Monday, but we'll see.
That's cool. That's cool.
But otherwise, my week was stupidly busy with work, but this is all I cared about. It's literally all I cared about. Yeah.
I was supposed to do tons of weed work. I see some of the weeds, some of the morning glory growing in the back, where the fences share with the neighbors. Mm-hmm. And so I was really going to go to town on that. I only got to one corner.
Yep.
And then it's just been nonstop rain, which is fine. I mean, I did some work in the rain too, but it's been busy that yard work was a secondary thing. And every time it rains, I get excited as a gardener, except when your goal is to get rid of weeds, you hate the rain because the weeds are growing too.
This rain has been too much. I'm done. We're July 3rd.
I love it.
No, give me the sun. Give me the sun. I'm done.
It's coming in August.
I'm not doing 1 month of sun. I want at least 2 months of sun.
Oh, please. And then when we have our 3-month summers, you're like, oh, it's so hot. Oh, I just can't wait. Oh,
AC,
air conditioning.
Exactly. I have AC. So
when did you get AC?
We've had AC.
I seem to remember you complaining about not having AC.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Let's get into, before we get into like POE land, let's talk about your week in POE. How was your POE week? Because we've talked non-POE week. What about your POE week? We got to play a little bit this week.
We did, which was awesome. And it was some good sessions.
Yeah.
And so we had a POE moment.
We've had many POE moments.
But this one was special.
This was a special one.
And we shared our first together.
Yep.
This is
it was really funny too.
Innuendo as my BJ mug.
That's about it. Yeah, we had our first Awaken gem to drop. And it was while we were together. And then my favorite part was how long it took both of us to realize what it was. It wasn't right away. We were like, and then we had to drop it a lot of times.
We did, just to hear it.
And it wasn't even one that either of us could use.
No, it was void manipulation and none of us are using that. But the nice thing was rumors confirmed. It can drop from Conquerors, not just Cyrus 8.
Yeah, but apparently, we'll just say it has to be tier 16 because that's the only time we've ever seen it. So that's the only way they will ever drop.
That's legit. In terms of the rest of my week, I had some really good ups and some really good downs in POE land. So in PC, I think this was the session I had on Sunday, just after our last podcast. And I've never had this in all my years of playing POE. I have never had this. My first 6 ascendancy trials that I see in maps were different.
For Uber.
My first 6 trials got me my 4th ascendancy. I've never had that. I wanted to take a picture. I want to tell my wife, and you'd be like, "Yeah, that's nice, honey. That's
everybody
that's
does
awesome."
That.
Yeah, and then
that was pretty sweet.
And on console, because we all know consoles rising to the top.
Those things
map
are still
conversion for standard. Yeah, for now, map conversion for standard worked perfectly and like a charm.
I thought this already worked. I thought you already talked about that. The map conversion worked for this league.
Well, hey, listen, if I have one subject that I forget about, that's not bad. That's not bad considering me. But awesome. Anyway, thank you, map person.
Yeah, you thanked them already too. This is just extra thanks for what happened during Christmas time when he was
I was just going to say, I hope you have a belated Christmas. So I was delving.
Yep. It was hilarious.
You were there. You were privy. You were privy to the show. I was broadcasting this, and there was a cache that was hidden. An animalistic cache. It contained animalistic items. Didn't really know what that meant. Figured it out, of course, because I don't really go out of my way for those, but I did this time and I couldn't get it. It was a puzzle. It was like staring at one of those like 3D puzzles where you have to go cross-eyed for a moment and figure it out, but you don't know how to go cross-eyed. I couldn't figure it out. It took me over an hour, Justin?
Oh, it was hilarious.
And I was joking, by the time I actually found it, I'm on my way. It's like the longest frickin' trail. I used up all my sulfite or azurite, whatever it is that gets you on the trail. It had one chest. It took me like an hour and a half, and it had one chest. It was such a
for
swear
everyone
word.
watching.
It was
It
such
was
a
worth
swear
it.
word.
It was worth it.
It was. There was a lot of excitement and up and down in the chat, but oh my goodness, and I can't use it. Every other roll was just garbage.
Yeah, it was. You had like the one, what was it, like aspect of the crab or something, but then everything else was crap. It was awesome. It was
just junk. Yep. Didn't even keep it for other people. Nope. It's out of there. There was a bitterness with that one. Yeah. If I got a scroll of wisdom for it, I'd take it.
It was fun to watch.
So check this out. I was in Belfry. Is it Belfry or Belfry? They have that map in Dark Souls too, and I never knew how to say it.
I don't know. I feel like it's Belfry.
PvP. Okay. So let's go with Belfry. So I had Xana on the other side of the map. Okay. Now Xana's map was Mudgeyser. So I go halfway around Belfry, and then I go into Xana, and then I go halfway around Mudgeyser. On the opposite side of Mudgeyser, I had an Abyssal Depths.
Yep.
So the Abyssal Depths spawns, and I got one of the bosses. Sweet. I like checking off the achievements or whatever they're called on PC. Is that what they're called? Challenges, right? And so, but I died with like a sliver of life. I think that says silver, but I meant sliver of life left on the boss. I was like, you know where it put me when I died? The beginning of Belfry. Like I died.
It didn't put you at the Xana entrance?
With Inception, you know, I'm in a dream within a dream within a dream. And I woke up and they were all gone. I had to go to the back of Belfry. Then I had to go all the way around the map to Xana. Then I had to go all the way around Mudgeyser. Then I had to go all the way through, the Abyssal Depths. Now, I've obviously never died before ever in POE, so I've never experienced that before. But I thought that was kind of funny. I thought that I just get put at the entrance of the Abyssal Depths. But anyway, so that was worth putting in. And then last thing, my Trigger Happy example video has a lot of dislikes and only a few likes. It's because it's just a boss battle, right? And it's that one boss battle where you have to go and like unlock each element of the boss and then drag it to the middle, and then you fight all four combined as one. It's that unique map. Yep. But it's a perfect example video for Trigger Happy because it's all based on block, and they attack so fast and frequent that one of my perks stacks up like how many times I blocked in the last 10 seconds. It's something like up to 110. So it really showcases the mechanics of it. But because people like seeing clear stuff, it's a sucky video. I have a fast track to the boss battle. But anyway, I've been planning on redoing it, and I went to go do it. And I totally forgot what I was going to say about that.
It says you squeezed it.
I didn't write down the points. So
did you make a new video?
No, I didn't get around to it because I started doing, what was the point? Oh, right. No. So then I realized that none of my guides actually have gameplay with the exception of a gameplay video or example video for my guides. I don't actually have just normal gameplay for my guides for like the last month. So then I had to try and squeeze in a couple maps. And because I was rushing, it sucked. And a good POE week, though. Good POE week. It was nice to play. Anytime you can play, it's a good time.
It's true.
I sucked, but it was a good time. How about yours? Tell me about your POE week.
Oh, man. Well, I hit 93. I am crushing the ladder. Thankfully, the second place person, pretty sure he got scared and he bounced. So
that's why they went to Trade League. They saw you coming.
Yeah, I think we've got another week left of our private league. I had a fantastic week in just Path of Exile. In general, the playing was fun. The build I'm doing is working great. Ball lightning is crazy. I still have absolute garbage gear, but I'm having a blast with like playing around the crafts with some changes we're going to talk about. Some of the new abilities to craft. They're fun. Mm-hmm. It's not amazing, but it is a lot of fun just to play with it. We got featured in a video by CwDT, which big shout out to him. That was pretty sweet.
Thank you.
I think it was a three most underrated, criminally underrated, I think he said, POE content creators, which is sweet given that we don't make videos like everybody else looks at it, for the video. We don't do video. You know,
Well, we're scared to show how we look.
We only get to see each other's beautiful faces. That's it. Yeah, we don't share that with the world right now. So, it was cool to be featured on there, and you know, people commenting that they've been listening to us or that they like our jib jabs. You know, our banter, if you will. And then, literally, the whole reason I wanted to start the podcast, Path of Exile followed us, which was awesome.
On what?
On Twitter.
Oh,
there's
cool.
no other way to follow us, is there? I don't think there is.
I don't know.
I think that's it. So yeah, that was
so awesome.
I have it screenshot. It's never going to be coming off my phone. That at one point they followed us on Twitter. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was my POE week though. It was
sweet.
Oh, and I also meant to tell you this last week. I found my favorite combination of skills in this game, and I've always laughed about the idea of it, but I've never done it until this league. Cast on Death Portal. Best thing ever. It's not recommended for hardcore players, but if you're playing softcore, oh my Lord, it's beautiful because you're going to die. You know, that's just the way we play. We're going to die. And the ability to just hop right back into, you know, where you were. I love it. I thought it was wonderful. I started playing, and this is how ridiculous my build is and how, I don't know, it's just really strong. I'm crushing tier 16s. I'm crushing Conquerors. I have a Cast on Death with a portal. And then I have another portal by itself just because I got tired of taking the Cast on Death out so I could cast portal. And I still have a couple empty slots on my build. So
that's impressive.
This has been a really fun league for me just to completely chill and have a fun time with it. So let's get into this week in POE. This is the things that have happened in the Path of Exile world. So we had, I don't know how to tie these two in. Okay. There was a post that was made by Bex. It was a message from GGG about changes to Harvest that they were going to have to make. And it was, we're going to talk a lot about this later. It was mostly a bit of an apology post about, you know, that they had made some mistakes. They tried to fix it and that led to additional mistakes. And these were going to be fixed in the upcoming patch.
Mistakes in terms of the power of crafting that Harvest was supposed
things
to have.
Weren't included that should have been. Things didn't work the way they meant them to, and it was essentially just them saying, look, we screwed up, sorry, and the fix is coming. I'm going to keep my opinion to myself at the moment about this because I have a conversation to bring up with this later. What did you think about it? Did you read it? Did you care?
Yeah.
I got to be honest a little bit. I don't care. You made a mistake. Awesome. Thank you for telling me. It did not change a thing. Anyway, before I get ranty, go ahead. I'm curious.
No, we're not. No, how about I like companies that are capable of humility.
Sure.
That don't blame anybody else, whether it's GGG or not. I mean, I've mentioned this many times about GGG, but you know, with history, with tech support and all this other stuff that you go through in life, I like a company that can say, "Oh shoot, that's on our end. Let me see what I can do. I'll get back to you. What's your phone number? Let me call you back." You know, whatever the situation is. So it's not when the humility kicks in, the mistake's no big deal. Now, I don't care about Harvest. I don't really like it. So to me, that it wasn't as powerful as it was supposed to be, fine. And I really don't think that there were any community members that really should have known how powerful it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like if there were for example, we're not getting cluster jewels as much as we think we should. Delirium's not kicking in as much as we had the impression that it would. Okay. Like if they never said anything about it and this was the drop rate and frequency of cluster jewels and Delirium, okay, like no apology. If they all of a sudden came out and said, "Hey, we're sorry, it's not working," I'm like, "Oh, cool, okay, yeah." I expected it to be more frequent. Like that.
Did you read nothing what the actual main apology though was regarding?
How long it took for the fixes to come out. And she was very apologetic that the power of Harvest crafting took so long to figure out and be applied.
And it was the fact that when they made the one change, it removed a lot of the mod adding or mod removing crafts, which are a big deal. They're awesome in the crafts, but it removed them by about 25 to 40%. And that's based on their numbers. Now, again, we're going to talk about this more later, but that was what it was. That was the bulk of what they were apologizing for. And then they came out with 3.11.1, which was
awesome.
Massive. So big.
How many fixes?
57 fixes.
Oh my goodness. And compared to the other quality of life stuff that they've been doing, this is like a well thought out, well planned one. This is the same one that they added. So now it's legit. Mm-hmm. Your large and medium cluster jewels are guaranteed 2 and 1 jewel sockets respectively.
Which is awesome.
Like, so now that's it. There's no more talk about it. That's just the way it is. It's core. Anything you know is now, back in the day. So, like, what a wicked patch.
And it's really easy to upgrade your existing ones, jewels, to that. You just sell it, you get it. It's awesome.
And then, they came out with more skins, which are cool. And they weren't celestials, so whoop, whoop. You get a free mystery box just for opening up the store. Don't know if that's still legit. So the second you hear this, maybe open up the store on your account. You get a free mystery box just for doing so. I got some wings that were way better than your Blizzard wings, that's for sure. Though mine kind of look Blizzardy because they're bloody and drippy and demony. They look better than your metal angels.
Metal things.
But I got something that was way cooler than what you got, so I was pretty pleased with that. Anyway.
And I will just say real quick, the 3.11.1 patch, it did bring in all the jewel changes, which is great. And it brought in a monster amount of changes to harvest. Tons of changes to the drop rate of seeds, to the craft likelihood of different ones. There is way too much to actually get into with all of it. And they just fixed a piss load of crashes, bugs, everything that was going on. And I think that's awesome.
They did have one thing that did actually irk me, and it wasn't what they were apologizing for. They actually added a new type of seed. It's an enhancement seed.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Right. And so it just makes the seeds that you're growing more powerful around it or something like that. I don't know, because I don't play Harvest, because I like multiplayer. And but anyway, as a filter, and so content creator and doing filters, all they said was, hey, we have this new seed that's going to drop. And then that's it. Like, I don't know what class type that is. I don't know what base type that is. I don't know if there's different tiers to it. So I was actually a little bit, I know they have lots going on, so it's not really a fair time to criticize. But as someone, like, when you're releasing new items, include the filter. Like, tell me what the class type is. Tell me what the base type. Like, what am I supposed to do? If somebody didn't ask, you know what I'd have to do? Play with Alt. It's just held down all the time. What is somebody supposed to do?
But they only dropped when? When did they drop? When would those drop? Just when you did the harvest ones, or when could those drop?
I don't know exactly when they would drop. Obviously, it's only a league mechanic. I think it would drop from the monsters themselves, like when the T2 and T3s would drop as well, the seeds. So anyway, I added it in hoping that I have the proper, sounds and sizes for that kind of stuff, because
oh yeah, especially because you're not doing a whole lot of harvest yourself, so it's kind of hard to check for that.
Right. And then at the same time, you want to get the, I guess, internal rankings in your filter correct before, people start playing it. You know what I mean? You don't want it to be small and insignificant and make a huge sound. You don't want it to be huge and make a small sound. So you like to know ahead of time. But anyway, Bex was nice enough with everything else going around to actually post the base types in the class after the fact. So that was nice.
Well, at least they got it out there.
Yep. You know what I'm loving about this league? I actually, as I mentioned, I don't really care for Harvest, but you know what's awesome about 311? It's going to be completely opposite to what you're going to say, but Reddit isn't loaded with questions about 2 builds. Like, do you remember my complaints about Reddit league for the previous league? All it was Herald stacking. And if you weren't doing Herald stacking, you were doing cast on crit Ice Nova or something.
Do you think it was like that last league, though, 2 weeks in? Like, was it really all focused around a build?
All league.
You think
so? And even after all the wah about Herald stacking, it was still Herald stacking and cast on crit Ice Nova. That was the all league. But you know what it is this time? There's not one dominant build that Reddit's exploding with. Okay. I'm absolutely loving it. All the toast that I'm getting on my phone, people asking for help. It's more like, what build should I do? What is capable of this? I'm struggling choosing between these 4 different guides. So I'm like, well, obviously you need to play my guides instead of yours, but no, but like, it's nice. It's like, to me, it feels like GGG's hit it, like the game's balanced. It's not even like overwhelming with two-handed weapons and ice crash and earthquake. It's so nice to have. It's going to sound really bad when we get into this later, but it's nice to have a balanced amount of builds within the community, from what it seems anyway.
Yeah.
It seems there's a nice variety, and that's what POE is, and that's awesome.
Totally agree. I like that it's not feeling like there's some meta build right now. There might be. Maybe we just don't know about it yet. But it does feel...
I'm happy to not hear about it because it's probably SRS, and I've already dominated that. So.
You showed everybody. Okay. You brought up Reddit. And so I'm going to also have a conversation about Reddit. Now...
Okay, I'm just going to go make a coffee and watch a movie. I'll be back.
I want to preface this with saying that I understand I'm not talking to the masses when I'm being somewhat, I don't know what the word is, but when I'm calling out people for being dicks on Reddit, I understand that it's not the majority of players. I think the biggest problem, though, is that all the players have to suffer because of a small group of asshats. So I really struggled this week with regards to the apology from GGG with regards to the harvest issue. I get that it was a mistake on their end. I really appreciated them saying, hey, here's the issue. But I also don't feel like they need to apologize for something because it was okay. I guess I like I said, I appreciate that they did. But I didn't feel it was necessary, but I felt like that should have been it. They said their piece. Here's the fix coming. I could not believe the absolute toxic place that Reddit turned into because of these harvest changes. And the thing that just, okay.
So why don't you explain, just in case we didn't explain it in our earlier part, like what was the issue? What did they apologize for?
Okay, well, we know GGG apologized for the fact that when they made some changes to harvest, it ended up, removing or making it much more rare to get some of the crafts that are the more, ones that you want to aim for, which is to remove a mod or add a mod. Those are the most for the most part for crafting, those are the really, really good ones because the majority otherwise are just reforge, which is just chaos spamming. And that's not really what you want to do when you're crafting an item because everybody knows a chaos spammed item is not going to be a good item. Like 999 times out of 1,000, it's not going to be good. And through one of their changes, it by accident decreased how often those more valuable crafts were going to come up. And so they recognized it and they were fixing it. Now, just right off the bat, there was somebody that I read that typed out how pissed they were that it took GGG a week to figure this out and fix it. And I just, sometimes I just wish I could reach through my monitor and strangle somebody. Like, are you kidding me? Have you played any other game ever before? What other game developer? I would
visit you in jail.
What other game developer is constantly updating their game? The thing that even makes me more irritated, you're playing a free game, first of all, and that's coming from somebody who has spent thousands of dollars on this game. I play a free game. It's not a paid game.
That's no joke.
It's not a paid game. I didn't have to spend a penny to play it. Neither do you. And nobody does. They come out essentially with a new version of the game every 3 months. Never seen another developer do something like that. They do leagues and like Diablo and stuff like that, but it's a whole shift in the game for the most part every 3 months.
Yep.
And they were 1 week in and they recognized this issue and fixed it. And you're mad? I can't understand that mentality of just you selfish, entitled little twat. Like, why do you feel like you deserve to have them like at your beck and call, fixing everything exactly when you want just because you don't like it? And the thing that bugs me is you brought up a great point, and this is kind of jumping around a little bit, but we talked, I think it was last week or the week before, and there was a comment that Chris made when he was talking. I think it was about Harvest. I don't remember what it was. I don't even remember, to be honest, who he was talking about, where he said that the community just needs to, at times, trust that Grinding Gear Games is doing what they think is best for the game. And what that means is that they're doing what's best for the game, not for you individual that thinks that this is the way that the game should act, react, direction it should go. They're doing what they think is best for the game. And that might not always align with your vision, player who's playing a game for free. And you just have to move on. I struggled so much. And then again, I want you to jump in here in a minute and give me your piece, but I got to get this out. I see a post from Bex talking about the struggle she's had this week. And granted, there's a whole lot of stuff happening right now in the gaming industry in general that's been happening over the last 2 weeks. And a lot of it is very negative and it's really unfortunate. But to read Bex talking about the fact that the attitude that people have had, the way that people have been talking is actually causing mental health, anxiety. It makes me sick. Like it just is. This is where I was talking earlier about empathy. If you are the type of person who's going onto Reddit and going onto Path of Exile forums and just being a dick to be a dick, you seriously, I just wish you would stop. Like read your sentence once or twice over and go, is this useful? Am I doing something that is maybe going to be, I have no problem with criticism, especially constructive criticism, but there is a difference. And somebody said to me when we were talking about this in Discord, that there's a fine line between criticism and whininess. And my argument was that I don't think that there is. I think that there is a monstrous gap between those two. And it's not hard to see the line. It's not hard to see where you are saying something that is being constructively critical and saying, hey, here's something that maybe we could think about or work on, versus being, I'm mad. This is what I wanted. You didn't do what I want. And I'm going to yell as loud as I can. Those aren't close. Like, I don't feel like that's a close line between those two. I think you've taken a really big step off to the side when that's the direction that you're going to go. And if you're doing something to the point that is making literally one of the absolute best community managers for a company I've ever seen, ever. I've never seen somebody work like Bex that's had the impact like Bex for a game, but you're making somebody like that actually feel down. And then, sorry, this leads into the last part of this, which is that thank God the moderators and the people, and I've had my qualms, we'll say, is that it? Can I use that word? I've had my qualms with Reddit, with the POE subreddit over a long period of time. But I am so impressed that they finally said, hey, we have to do something about this. And there's a huge post on Reddit. And I could not agree more with these moderators and the people running the subreddit that have said enough is enough. This is not a place to come and be toxic. It's not a place to come and make people feel bad. Like Path of Exile, the community in Path of Exile used to be so positive. Before there was all the big subreddit and before the game got as big, it was a very, very, I don't know what the word is, but it was a community that tended to help people out. And I think in general, like I said, I don't think I'm talking to the masses when I say stop being a turd. I think it is a smaller group of them, but I am so happy that the subreddit has finally said, hey, look, we have to do something about it. If you read it, if you read Reddit, whatever, if you read the post that the moderators put up on there about the changes that are coming to the subreddit, they were having complaints from content creators, players, developers that were saying, I can't come to the subreddit. It's not a place. I feel worse when I come there. Yeah. That's a really, really big problem. And if you were part of that problem, I hope that you take a step back and just go, okay, it's time for me to chill. I didn't need to go to that extreme. And we have, sorry, just my last point. We have a relatively beneficial point of view where we're coming from because we both have relatively thick skin and neither of us depend on any of this to be able to pay our bills, to be able to, do what we need to do to keep our family, protected and safe. There are people who depend on those jobs of streaming that you're constantly sitting on there berating and being negative to. There are developers who work their asses off to give us a game that we get to play for free. And I'm so tired of the Reddit community just being turds to people. And I'm really hopeful that this gives a shift and starts saying, okay, enough's enough. It's not okay. If that's the type of person you are, you're not welcome here. And there's no multiple warnings like another person that you and I both know very well. You don't get to have a temporary ban and then come back. No, if that's your attitude, like a 1 or 2 strike and you're done. go bug another subreddit because you're not welcome here.
People know what they're doing. And even if you've gotten into the habit of turning in, like being this person and you didn't even realize it. I mean, we all have gone down that road where all of a sudden we can take a step back. Maybe it's something like from what you've said and we realize, oh my goodness, I didn't even like realize it. It's okay to say that you screwed up and then try and change.
Yeah.
Like don't be proud and think that just because you were one of those pricks on Reddit that you're just guilty and now people are pissed at you and you screwed things up. Like what you said won't change. Who you hurt won't change. But you can, from this point forward, be encouraging. You can be one of those people, if you were honest, like what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. If you are one of those people that are saying, listen, I used to be one of those people, but I took a step back. I assessed my priorities, which are always beyond Path of Exile. The people that are going through this have their priorities in a weird state outside of the game, and it just shows forth, right? Your colors are just shining through like it does with everything in life. One example, my dad's been dead for a few years now, but I remember I'm a coffee freak. I'll drink crap coffee, even though it's crap coffee. And there was a McDonald's that lived close to the place that I used to live at, and they had no clue how to make even warm, let alone hot coffee. Every time I went through drive-thru at McDonald's, it was freaking cold. Now, my dad just died at that point, right? Let's say I go through McDonald's, I get a cold coffee, I freak out. Like, I mean, nobody wants a cold coffee. Well, unless you're buying a cold coffee, but they didn't sell that. Anyway, if I was in the car with someone and I freaked out, they would get it, right? I'm mourning, I'm sad, like what I'm doing isn't right, but they would get it. But I know that person on the other side of the window has nothing to do with what I'm going through. And maybe they're going through something like the person that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. I don't know. But it's my job as a person. It's my responsibility to love no matter what I'm doing. And so no matter what you're going through, whether it's great, whether it's not, you know if you're being a prick. You know that you're just venting out. Like, would you actually say these things to people in real life? Do you go to the mall and when you're shopping at whatever video game store or bookstore or whatever, when they don't have what you're looking for, when they don't order it on time and they say, oh, I'm sorry, there was a backlog with our shipping department. Do you freak out? I sure hope not.
Yeah. I really hope that this is a corner for the community in Path of Exile, because one thing is for sure, if you are listening to this podcast, have heard of this podcast, one thing we all have in common is we love this game. It's a great game. And yes, we can have our issues and we can be critical of it. And like I said, empathy doesn't mean that you have to agree with each other. It just means you have to understand that this is how somebody else might be feeling. And I think Reddit sadly has turned into a spot where you just cannot go to find. I mean, I'm really happy you talk about that there's, people posting, looking for new builds. And I don't disagree that there is that majority part of Reddit that's fantastic. It just gets really tiring seeing the people focus on the negatives and just be dicks to be dicks. I just can't stand it. And what's 100%. Weird to me, I mean, we have a relatively older listenership to our podcast, which is great because we're not young bucks technically. But it's
we're hip.
We're hip. I really hope it's not people our age that are because I just can't fathom that. I just don't get it. Like, you can't get to this point in life. We're not old, but you can't get to this point in life without understanding that other people feel things too. And the people who are making this game, they don't always do everything right. I've never seen another company that's been more transparent when they've messed things up. And that post is a perfect example of it. So give them some slack. And you know what? I think a lot of people in this case are mad because they just don't like Harvest. I think a lot of people don't like it. And I get it. Harvest is so out of left field when it comes to Path of Exile. It's weird. It doesn't feel like Path of Exile. Totally understand that. But again, one, you don't have to play. Because guess what? You can come back in 2 months and there's going to be a whole new league and a whole new process and whatever. But two, just try it. You don't have to play the mechanic of it. You can still play the league. And again, if you're not into it, no big deal. Guess you haven't lost anything.
I'm completely ignoring the mechanic. All I do is play with Justin and I'm loving the league. Well, I'm loving the game.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. My build's rocking, but I'm completely ignoring Harvest.
Yeah, I totally understand some people don't like it, and that's okay to not like it, but just I'm really hoping, like I said, that this is a turning point for Reddit, for the subreddit, because I really struggle to spend much time on there, and it makes me feel really bad for people like Bex when, and thankfully she posted, I think the following day, because she got just an outpouring of people, telling her how appreciative they are of her, which I think she probably does know that, but people have bad days. And to all of a sudden,
all it takes is a bad 5 minutes.
Yeah, to all of a sudden slam a bunch of jerks on top of that. So you know what? My hat is off to the moderators, and that's something for me to say, that the moderators of the POE subreddit. If this is a change that's actually serious and going to, push forward, I am 150% on board, because I would like to see people that are positive. I mean, we have, I don't even know how many people in our Discord. I've never seen somebody act like a dick to somebody else, ever. Never. I was talking to somebody just recently, and I said, your best spot right now to find some help, just go post on their Discord. Cause I guarantee you're going to get a few people who are going to hop on there and be like, hey, here's some pointers or some help. So,
but if you're one of those people that thinks that being a dick is legit, please join our Discord. We've been dying. We've been dying for you to join. Just one. We just need one of you. Not a lot of you. We don't want to practice banning people, but we would love you to join just for a minute. It just takes a minute, just one post. Now, I do have 2 more things to say, but can I move on when I'm done them, or do you want to?
All I was going to say is, I know the people listening are not the people that are dealing with or like doing this, but they are the people who are dealing with it. And I know we're not the only people feeling this way. So my hope is that this is a turning point for Reddit, and that we can all, use it as a positive place to commune and conversate.
Fellowship.
That's right.
I had 2 things to say. You mentioned age. You and I, close to 40 now, and people half our age, no excuse. No excuse. I mean, no, like we know people that are half our age that we would easily hire in a heartbeat.
Yep.
We know people that are half our age that we most definitely would not. But I mean, even then, you know what's going on. You know you're being a prick. You know you're being proud. And here's one thing, though, like you mentioned many times how transparent this company is. If we want them to stay transparent, you can't hang on their every word. Mm-hmm. You can't take every single thing they say and beat the crap out of it. You have to treat them like somebody that you're at the dinner table with. You have to treat them like somebody that you actually still want to be transparent with you tomorrow. That they're thankful that you spoke, not like terrified that they have to tolerate more of your speech. I hope they stay transparent. I hope they're able to work past the frustration of this.
I think they need to put it into a plaque and make it as like a cornerstone of anything they put out there. And that is Chris's comment, like I mentioned before, that they do what they do for the better of the game. And he didn't say it. This is me adding to it, but it's not for you, individual person listening or reading that. It is for the better of the game.
They actually care about Path of Exile.
So anyway, that's my rant, because I've been eating that. That's been bugging me all week. So
perfectly tied in with everything that's happened this week, though. So
yeah, it's just be kind, people. Just that's it. Just be nice.
Yeah.
Everybody who's listening, we already know you are. You guys will be mean.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back into some POE stuffs.
You know what I hate? Doors.
Doors?
I hate doors.
Oh, okay.
Well, because you like your freaking flame dash and stuff like that, or just normal dash, and you don't open any doors. So I'm desperately trying to keep up with you. And then you skip doors. So now I can never keep up with you. But
can I be honest?
What?
I only do that when I'm playing with you.
I hate you.
I open every door when I'm by myself.
I don't know why, because I play Alva just as much as the other master missions. I do them all equally. Everybody's even and special. I don't know why, but I just noticed this league that I don't have to open any doors in my Alva incursions.
You've never had to.
I never noticed. I just assumed they were always open or what, but they are open automatically.
It's awesome.
Why isn't every door in the game like that?
I want that to be like a point on the tree.
Why do I have to, like, in combat, find a door?
Yeah, it's really hard.
Because the technology's there. I saw it with Alva. Anyway, that's a thing
I
that I'm
agree.
distracting from Reddit. And while we're on the subject,
Yes.
remember when Chris said, and I think we've heard Jonathan say this too, that they kind of base their leagues off of movies that they've seen. They kind of sometimes have a theme.
BS.
You thought they were a load of crap. Yeah. I think the last few leagues have revolved around the movie series Aliens.
See, you saying this kind of calls me out because somebody was mocking or saying in our, I think it was in Discord or maybe, no, we were talking in Discord one day.
I think it was Die because he has the sweet Aliens hideout.
Right. And he said he got like almost offended at the idea that you might not have seen Aliens. And you were like, no, I've seen it. And I instantly went quiet. Man. I've never seen any
memorized.
of them. Never seen a single one.
So good. Prometheus, Alien versus Predator. Oh man, you just can't beat them. Those are class action.
Never seen them.
That's what I think so because
Why?
You have the pods like Harvest. You have these pods. Well, no, you have these pods that look so much like the pods where the aliens come from in Aliens, and then monsters come out. Right? Not aliens, monsters, but still, there's the pods, and then there's Blight. That's pretty like pulsy with these things coming through and like all like interdimensional. It's kind of Aliens when you throw in the Prometheus theme there. And then Delirium's more like the Predator aspect coming from space and having their like Kumite, which is blood sport and not related to anything. But I think it's Aliens.
I think you're stretching.
Wait, where's the guy? Who's the guy? Remember, if we could have like a picture for our title, who's the guy like where aliens are real? And he's always like, obviously. It's Aliens. You know what I'm talking about? He's on like National Geographic or something. Anyway, whatever, man.
Did you know that they got, well, I'm just going to say this as a fact because I haven't seen it, but I think they got rid of the one portal Xana quest. I have done a ton of Xana master missions. I have yet to see, which is, there's no way I wouldn't have just by chance. I think that they got rid of the whole one portal. I don't remember seeing it in any notes.
I haven't, it doesn't come to memory, but to tell you the truth, I haven't seen any of that either.
I freaking love it.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Because we don't die or anything. It's not like we need more than one portal. But
it's even better once you start tying portal with cast on death. It's amazing.
Or when you have Belfry and then Xana.
Yeah, if only you had that.
Abyssal. Hey? Right, because then I can die and go all the way back to the beginning of my first dream and then go dream.
Anyway, I thought that was cool. I like that it's gone.
That is cool. We're coming to the end of our league, right? Our private league that we have for
it's like,
Forever
we got
Exile.
a long way to go, buddy.
Yeah, well, listen, man, I'm just out. I'm not doing another podcast till the beginning of next league.
Oh yeah, the Forever Exiled private league. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about like we were talking about maybe another league, maybe not, but re-rolling and things like that. That's what us POE people do, right? We theory craft like mad, and then the second we start our new build. One act in, we're already thinking about another build while we're clicking away on this one. I almost put Firestorm into my Righteous Fire guide. It was so close. And then they came out with the Chieftain. It was going to happen. But then they came out with the Chieftain Ascendancies the changes that changed everything for me, which it wasn't a good way. But I still have that Firestorm itch.
Mm-hmm.
So my next build is going to be one of three things. I know I really narrowed it down. It's going to be a Hierophant with Firestorm and Totem, of course, because it's Hierophant. Is that how you say it? Hierophant? Hierophanty?
I don't know how you say it.
Okay.
I don't know. Elephant.
Okay. Makes sense to me. The other one is just my CI Occultist. Right now it's Vortex, but just replace actually almost all my damage nodes are spells. So I'll just take the Cold Cluster, move it over to Fire, and instead of Vortex, have Firestorm. Oh, that'd be nice. Or this one's going to be awesome. You're going to love this one way more than you love SRS, which I know you're already wishing you didn't all criticize because you look like a fool.
Mm-hmm.
A Guardian that has all charge nodes on the tree. So basically you're just going all the way around the tree, except for one little loop. You're getting every charge node, and then you're getting the life nodes, like the plus 8% or 10% that are all along the way, like Golem's Blood and that kind of stuff. You still get a lot of life that way. And so but it's going to revolve around the charges. And then you're going to get those three little branches, one's for frenzy charges, one's for endurance charges, and then one's at the top for power charges. You get those, and then you use Firestorm for that. And Firestorm hits so much. Oh, and it's going to be so good because then it has Firestorm, right? Spell echo or concentrated effect because you want it close together. Then spell echo, but then intensify. And then there was another one that also made it cast fast.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Oh no, this is going to be like, oh, it's nonstop. And it's going to be so small because intensify makes it so small. Buses are going to get crushed.
You won't even need to do a guide. You'll just say like, just build a circle. Just build a circle in your tree. You'll be fine.
And then just pick your items. You'll be fine. Yeah. Watch the orbs spin around you.
Everything
as you can't
will
progress
die.
past Act 8. Yeah.
You won't.
No, I'm excited for it. It's going to happen. Oh no, it's replacing every guide. I'm going to do like a Firestorm build for every guide now. Yeah. No, actually, I'm going to do the opposite. I actually want to make every single guide minion based. So even my blocking one, I want to make dominating blow.
So I want to know. I'm curious. I have actually liked Harvest, and you were mentioning that you don't. I'm just curious why. What's the things that you're not liking about it?
So yeah, Harvest specific. I don't like. I love 311. I think it's absolutely awesome. Like I said, I think it's one of the most balanced situations the game's been in, and I'm super excited for what they're going to like when they start. I'm assuming that they revamp the other base types, kind of like how they revamped the two-handed base types. I'm looking forward to when they revamp one-handed and shields and like all the other ones. I'm super excited about that, and the game's really balanced. But Harvest itself, I don't care about. Maybe it comes with a bit of the forced apathy I have because we play multiplayer. Yep. One of us doesn't care. I'm fine with standard. You are league only, so obviously we're going to be playing in your world. So maybe that has something to do with it. But see, I had an issue. This is related. I had an issue when they added Blight to the core game. Not Blight itself, but Blight as it was in League. See, to me, POE, I love POE in Dark Souls for very similar reasons. I don't even have to talk to NPCs to get a quest. I can skip it and just start killing stuff and then turn stuff in. Like it's all about just, you take time on your character, your passive tree, your gear, but that's it, right? I don't have to care about min-maxing my hideout. There's no reward for it. It's cool. So if I want to scratch that itch, that's where I can do it. But when they added Blight, I remember, I think it was Jonathan saying he loves tower defense games. I do too. And so he wanted to try and add tower defense mechanics to the game. And I'm like, but it's Path of Exile. Like, I like stealth games, but when I want to play a stealth game, I play Splinter Cell.
Sure.
Not the newest one because that one's brutal. I love sports, but I don't play POE to scratch my sports itch. I play Madden. You know what I mean? Like, I love racing, but I'm loading up my Formula One simulator for that. I'm not. POE has a certain thing that I love about it. And all of a sudden now they added Blight, but they actually kept the towers in. I thought that maybe when it went core, when they added Blight, the towers would have disappeared. You would have clicked on that pulsey thing, but then monsters would have just come rushing at you, and they would have scaled it down so that you don't need the towers to kill them. You know what I mean? But when they added towers to it, it totally changed. Like it was weird. It's like a non-POE mechanic was added to the core game. You know what I mean? Like you can click on Abyss and it's just monsters, right? You don't have to micromanage anything. You don't have to read a menu to do it. You can click on what's the other one? Breach, like war bands. Everything is just, it's not about reading. It's not about figuring out. That was the major reason why Synthesis didn't work, right? Synthesis. Mm-hmm. And one reason why Syndicate did work was because you don't have to care. You could just click kill or live, and you're getting benefits no matter what. You're fighting, right? You're fighting before your choices. So I'm a little nervous about this one because I don't like, to me, what this league is. And I think I actually mentioned this last podcast, but the reason I don't like Harvest is I feel like I have to play a mini game. And I have to have a well-organized mini game. Sure, it might only take one setup, but I still have to do a lot of work to maintain it on a regular basis just to access a crafting bench. I don't like that. Like, I'm fine spending time with my crafting bench, but I'm fine going from my Atlas device or my stash tab straight to my crafting bench and then thinking I don't want to have to do stuff to get to it. And so I'm actually kind of nervous because if this goes core, because Blight didn't remove the non-POE stuff from the league mechanic, right? Getting actually rid of the towers. I'm nervous that this is going to get added to the core game. And then people are going to be like, well, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? And I'm like, well, because I don't want to micromanage over and over and over my garden. Like to me, it's not PoE. If I wanted to play this kind of game, I would load a different game. This isn't why I play PoE. You know what I mean? Like there's cool benefits from it, but I'm fine without it.
I think the argument I would make towards the Blight, which I didn't like Blight, I hated the Blight League.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it as much now as it is in core. But the reason that I don't mind how it's incorporated is because you can just walk right past. You don't have to do it. You can skip it. I will be very surprised if Harvest goes core. I think Harvest, I really, really am enjoying it. I have really liked building up the Grove. It's a totally different take on Path of Exile that just doesn't make sense, which I think is why I like it. It doesn't make sense. It's not Path of Exile, but I don't as big as it is, like just with regards to, how extensive it is and how much is connected to it. I don't think it'll go core. I think it will go the way of Synthesis, and I would be quite surprised if you saw this.
So I think it would be a little scary to have something so powerful. Granted, like the patch just came out, today? So you and I haven't actually even played with the powerful version of the league. But I mean, adding that type of power to the core game just seems insane. That aside, though, I think kind of like how I kind of wish Blight was implemented. I would be fine if they had 1,000 different things that had a 10% chance of spawning in a map, or like Delirium based on how much you invest towards the map. But I think what would make this fine to incorporate into core would actually be removing almost the entire league. Like get rid of seeds completely. So you're getting rid of all those devices, all the storage stuff, and all you have is that spore thing that you click on, but instead of dropping seeds, it's already a grove and it just rushes monsters at you. Like if it was just the monsters, you click on it, it'd be just like you click on the Hand of Breach and then monsters start rushing at you. Same thing, but it's a different reward, right? Maybe at the end you get random opportunities to craft something, right? Like maybe you'll get that outcome based on the random type of grove that it is. So there's no seeds, no nothing. It's in the map. They rush at you. You get your random modifiers that you can use, and then you have access, just like you do in your grove right now. You have access to your stash in a way so that you can't like change too much, but you're not cheating. I see with that kind of stuff, I'd love that.
Yeah, I think with it being 2 weeks in, it'll be interesting to see what direction they go with Harvest through the rest of this league. My actual reason for thinking that it won't go core has nothing to do with whether it's powerful or not. It just has to do with the fact that it's not a very popular league and mechanic. And while I do agree that, they're going to make their decisions based on what they think is best, I also think they're not stupid, and they're going to go, well, if I think the majority of people who are interacting with the Harvest League are really, really into that. And that's it. I think it's polarizing. Like I think you're very into it and you're like, yes, I want to play with this crafting and I want to do it. And then you've got the other ones who are just like, I don't like it. I like 311, or hopefully they like 311 and they're going to play, but they don't want to interact with the Harvest side. I don't think there's too many people that are just kind of like apathetic, like, all right, I'll go in there. I think you're one side or the other. So
yeah. And it's okay to have leagues like that too.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, and it's, and it's not really a criticism to
I'm
the
fine
league,
if they
I
don't
guess. Like
keep
it is, but I don't like it. And that's just me saying my opinion. It's not really a criticism saying it's stupid because it's there. I just don't
it's just not
think
your thing.
It matches the game.
Which is fine. Yeah. And even for me who likes it, if they don't keep it, I'm fine with that too.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think the reason that I have enjoyed it so far is just because it's so out of left field. Like it does not feel like Path of Exile. So it's been kind of fun. It doesn't, like that grove, the whole like pink and yellow and blue and lines running all over the place and storage tanks, which please make them bigger. GGG, please. I need bigger than 300. Anyway, yeah, that's
it is nice that it slows the game down. Now, this isn't in our notes, but do you think this was somebody on the broadcast when we were hanging out the other night mentioned they were scared that Delve wasn't going to make PoE 2. Do you think that all these mechanics that are currently getting implemented actually stick around? I know you say you don't really care about PoE 2. Whenever it comes out, it comes out. Whatever they come out with, you're fine with it.
It's too much overthinking for me, but I think everything that's in the core of the game right now stays with the core game. I can't see them, especially something like Delve. I don't see something that major, them going, yeah, we don't really like it. I just don't think it. I don't think that's the case. But again,
Delve.
PoE 2 to me is just, I'm excited to play it, but I don't want to think about it because it's just way too much guessing. It's way too much like trying to interpret like what this sentence that they said means. And I don't have any interest.
Have you had any of those new lab keys drop for you?
I had a craft.
What are those offerings, lab offerings?
I got a craft for a lab thing to turn it into like a lab. I don't know. I watched one person do one of them. I can't remember which one it was. And it just gave you seven enchants. Like you could run the like 7 whatever things of the font.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it made the bosses and the mobs 30% more damage and 300% more health. So that's a pretty big increase in their like damage and difficulty for 6 extra casts on the font.
So for me, once I'm fully ascended, I don't care about lab at all. I'm never trying to get that perfect enchant on my helmet for whatever skill I'm using. I'm not going to do that 100 times and hope that I get it, right? Maybe I'm getting Firestorm and I want increased duration, but maybe I actually get a Firestorm on my 30th attempt, but it's Firestorm damage. I'm like, oh, gotta do it again. Like I hate the lab so much that I'm not min-maxing my enchantment. And I'm playing solo self-found. That's the only way I'm getting it. And I'm not. So that might be a good payoff. I get to go one more time for 7 spaz.
I think if where they could be quite beneficial is if you were, I've played a league before where I had a lab farmer. It was a lot of fun. If I was playing a lab farming build, because you can make a boatload of currency farming lab. It's amazing. That's amazing. Like to have 7 chances at the font means that you have a much higher chance of getting one of those really expensive ones. But for me, playing a normal build, heck no. First off, I'm probably just going to find it in Trade League. And second off, I'm just not going to use it. I don't min-max my build enough that I need to be like, well, I need that enchant. I don't. I got like some stupid enchant on my Ball Lightning one right now. It has no effect at all. So it's cool. I have no idea what the other ones do. I've just happened to watch this one. I can't remember which one it was, but it was, you got seven shots at the font, which it's cool that they did something with the lab.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's at least something extra that, like I said, for some people is probably a big deal or at least an extra piece of fun because the lab hasn't been touched since
Inception.
Whenever it came,
not the league. I don't think there was a league Inception.
I don't think there was.
Been incorporated, but I personally can't stand that stuff. I don't like those types of. That's not PoE to me. Just dealing with traps. Yep. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of people love it. I don't like it. I'm excited. If it got removed, I would cheer. I wouldn't be apathetic. I would be happy. To me, if I'm going to play a game like that, I'm playing Divinity. Awesome game, but I play it when I have a different itch to scratch. Now, you're pretty old. You're like falling apart. You're so old.
Aren't you older than me?
Yeah, I am.
Like I haven't even hit my change in age this year yet, sir. I'm still
I'll
young.
sing happy birthday for you when it comes out.
What's your point, Grandpa?
Do you know what POG means?
Okay, I hate this word. I saw it. I feel like this is going to age us really poorly right now because I know people use it all the time. People type it in streams. People say it in streams. I learned what this was from Ethan, who is my 18-year-old. And it was because I saw people saying it and typing it in chats. And I was like, what is this stupid word? And then to make it even worse, I couldn't figure out, like, it just seemed like they were saying it when something was supposed to be cool or neat. But then they would be like, instead of saying it was pog, they'd be like, it's poggers. And I'm like, what? That doesn't, I don't like new. I'm such an old. I'm normally not like this, but this puts me into Tyler's realm of old man. I don't.
Oh no, you're always like this.
I don't like it. I don't get it. What does it mean?
I got so tired of not knowing. I got so tired of seeing it and not knowing that.
When did you see it?
I Googled it. You know, I think that young people.
I Googled it. That's like the perfect thing for an old person.
It is. It is like what I doubt young people even Google stuff. They just know. I don't know how they know, but they just know things. Old people Google things.
That's us.
So anyway, I Googled it.
Yep.
And apparently it means like player of the game or play of the game.
Okay. So that's okay.
So like,
so
you did something
POG.
Great. You're the player of the game.
POG player of the game. Okay.
That's what I found.
I just looked up poggers just for fun. And of course, Urban Dictionary is the first thing. And it doesn't even have a definition. It just has a use in a sentence. When your wife's boyfriend let you sleep past 8 p.m. Me, wife's boyfriend, you have 5 more minutes. Me, poggers. No, that didn't help me at all. I have no idea what that even means. I actually have no clue. So what is poggers then? If pog, there's
you're
a pog.
You're all players of the game.
Wasn't pogs like the game we used to play where you hit them down?
Now you're aging us. Yes,
One of the
these
words
little
is a
cardboard
pog
discs. And then you had your Pog Slammer. Oh, they were slammers. That's right. They were slammers. And then people would have like pictures and be like, oh, wow, that's a wicked one. Oh, no, this one's worth like so much.
They took this from our 90s. They took the word Pog and they took it from back in our day. So I don't feel so old anymore. You bunch of youngins. Make up your own words.
They do. I don't know what any of them talk about.
Please don't. Just keep using normal words.
What's it from? What do you mean they took it? What does it mean?
The Pog, it came from Pog Champ, and that had to do with a Pog championship of like who played Pog. I absolutely love that there's multiple results for what does Pog mean on Google. Or not that out.
I like things like way to go or good job.
Yeah. High five, guys. High five. Can't you just give me a smiley face?
Okay, so I was walking my dog the other day and you know, I'm trying to be nice to people, right? You know, like we were talking about mental health and you never know what people are going through. And, you know, it's like COVID too. So you never know what people have amped up behind them. So I'm walking my dog. You know, you remember when you were young, like I'm talking like 12 or whatever. And then there was a teenager that were in like later high school that looked like a man, or like there was like this older girl there and they say hi to you. And it's just an older person acknowledging you or saying hi, just like sent you through the moon. You know, it was just the best. So anyway, now that I'm older and all wise, I'm walking around, you know, there's like these kids going around, they're going off their sweet jumps on their bikes and stuff. They're getting about 2 inches of, oh yeah. Well, that's a skateboard thing.
I know.
And so anyway, well, maybe it's a bike
thing. Kids still ride those.
Things.
Kids they ride skateboards.
Bicycles? Yeah, of course they do.
Skateboards.
And so anyway, they're getting like 2 inches of air, but it feels like, you know, 3 feet and they're having a great time. So like it's COVID. And so I'm not going to touch, you know, or like go close to this person or anything, but this little 12, 9, I don't know how old. And I go to say good job, but I go to bring my hand up, you know, to like, and they think it's going to be like a high five, but for some reason I just do thumbs up. And I think I'm the only person in the world that thinks that thumbs up is still cool. You know, like I'm a gringo. I'm a gringo everywhere that I go.
You just keep
like
giving
I'm always
people a thumbs up.
Or, yeah. So I went to go the thumbs up, and then they did that awkward like I'm going to do a high five, and they're like, oh, and then they went down here, and then so they were really excited that someone older than them was talking to them, but then they went down and they were like all embarrassed, and so I said, "You're awesome on your bike," and then they were like, "Yeah," and then they did another jump.
You're old. That's what we've gathered. I think
my story.
Yeah, Pog and Poggers actually made me angry when I first heard it because it just seems so stupid. But that's not the only word. There's others. I don't get it.
Yeah,
these kids and their words and their music.
Oh, it's so loud.
So awesome. Anyway, anything else you want to yell about? Hey, old man.
There was one thing I forgot to mention in my what happened this week in POE land.
Tell me.
Not this week in POE land, but in my POE week. I didn't know this was possible, and it kind of irked me. And I don't like being irked. I had a metamorph come up. Those always excite me. I just love picking and choosing the rewards and the insane battle. It's so cool. I still can't decide if I like metamorph or delve better. Anyway, I went through and I'm picking, I make sure that it's maximized, like that bar that determines that you're going to get a body part, the bubble thing, you max it out. So I like to make sure that it's maxed, but I also like to make sure that I'm getting the mods I want. Like I always want map currency, you know what I mean? Or if there's like an option to get like an elder or an influenced accessory, like, oh my goodness, I'm doing that even if it's like on the far right instead of the far left. And so I noticed, I'm like, okay, well, I haven't maximized this, but I have only one of my body parts isn't on the far left, isn't the hardest. So I went and switched it, and I ended up having all the hardest body parts, and it didn't max my meter. And that actually kind of bugged me. It did. It's a Xana mod. You invest in it. Right? It's a scarab. You invest in it. You invest, you put currency towards this, and it could be that you don't even get a body part.
Maybe it's only the ones that show up randomly by the 10% though. Because you didn't put a scarab or a Xana mod for that.
No, I didn't. But I didn't think that changed anything. Right? Like even the scarabs are just.
That happens a lot when you're leveling. Like in Metamorph, like you'll get them where you can't get body parts in lower tier stuff. I've had for sure.
I don't like that. I don't like it. I think that it should be able to be maxed
always
if you're choosing the hardest ones. Yeah. Maybe you have to choose the hardest ones for some of the random variances that they have. And so, it's definitely not the selections you want in terms of what's going to drop. But if you want the body part more than the drops, okay, then you choose that. But to me, it's kind of weird that you can have a metamorph that actually can't be maxed out.
Was this on PC or console?
It was PC.
Oh, well, so then it doesn't matter.
Maybe it was console. Maybe it was console. I don't remember. I'm going to say PC just so that you understand what I'm saying.
The only place that it matters is whichever one you have that silly tab for, because then it would have been necessary. But if you don't have the silly tab, then what difference is my Delirium tab has increased by 1 item.
Impressive.
Yeah. It has 2.
I think those tabs are rad. I don't care how much is in them.
We've had this great conversation last week. It's going to always be the same thing. Buy them if you like them. Don't if you don't. What's your noob tip for the week? Talk to them, Ty.
Hey, new folk. What's up? My newbie tip of the week is check out the Chaos and Regal vendor recipes.
Done this before.
No, I haven't.
Pretty sure.
Oh, sorry, new people. That's all I have.
What is it though? Tell them.
Well, so if I forget what item level it is. Is it 75?
Oh God, like when it switches, I have no idea. I wish it was all still Chaos because I don't know when.
I like Regals. But when you trade in an entire set of identified rares that are under, I think it's you'll have to double check, but I think it's under item level 75. An entire set would be like 1 2-handed weapon or a 1-handed weapon, 2 1-handed weapons or 1-handed weapon and a shield. One of each accessory, right? The amulet, 2 rings and a belt, then a head, a chest, gloves, and boots. Quivers aren't a part of the equation. But when you trade a whole set of those in identified under item level 75, to a vendor, you get a Chaos Orb, just 1. So it's a lot of work just for 1. And then if they're above item level 75, again, I don't remember if that's the actual one, then you get a Regal Orb instead. But the reason I'm suggesting it isn't necessarily for the currency, though that's a nice perk when you're trading it in. It's to it really familiarizes yourself with the gear. You are kind of looking, you'll use up your in-game inventory while you're mapping very quickly. You'll have to make choices. It does slow you down, but you have to make choices based on gear. So you start looking and comparing your mods based on what you have and the space that you have. And then you're looking at that gear again when you go to vendor it to see if you actually want to keep it and sell it on Trade League or keep it for a future character in solo self-found or vendor it. And so it's a really good way to familiarize yourself and start comparing gear that are a little bit outside of the build you're practicing.
You talk about like in Regals and you don't do harvest, but I had a harvest craft that was turn 6 augments into 6 Regals. That's a pretty sweet harvest craft.
Oh, that is nice. I haven't seen any.
It might have been a tier 2. I can't remember.
I haven't seen any currency. It's just changing items so far. Take a normal, turn it rare. Take a normal, focus on defense.
Yeah, they've thankfully shifted that a bit with this one. And I've even noticed it, which has been great. I think I I think I noticed it last night because I think the patch actually came out yesterday, but I get to play it for a little bit. So my tip is, we actually got a question from one of our Patreons about, the whole, how do you level? What's the most proficient way to level through axe? We are not, professional racers about being proficient through axe. I think the one thing that I've learned through leveling through axe is understanding which sections you need to go into. And there's really, really good guides online for that. If you're just trying to not hit every single zone and you're just focused on the ones that give quests for skill points, or when you're doing your first run through, because you want to get the ones that will give you access to doing your ascendancy. And that's always my focus. If you really want to min-max your leveling, go with something that's spell-based. It's just much easier than melee. It's gotten better. This league's, they've tried to fix things a little bit, but I haven't leveled yet melee in this league, so I can't say that for sure. It's so much better. Spell is way easier to scale up as you're leveling.
There's no accuracy, and you can just use mana flasks for the mana cost. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then, one of the questions was coming from a Diablo 3 background. There's no such thing as, gear sets or anything like that in Path of Exile. So you don't really have to be focused on specific, if you're going to follow a guide, some of them may recommend certain uniques. And if you're in the trade league, a lot of them are going to be much more easy to get. The one thing I really, really like about this Harvest League is that if you are following a guide, just understand that literally every single build does not need 6 links. You can do almost everything on 4 or 5 links. And it's really, really easy now to get 5 links on items, which is fantastic. It's so nice to be able to very easily pull off 5 links on a 2-hander or a chest. So I wouldn't stress so much about having to have a 6 link. You can very easily now, even in solo self-found, but if you were looking for a specific unique chest, for example, it's really easy to play them in 5 sockets. But yeah, don't be focused on looking for like sets of gears. There's just not such a thing. And yeah, that's it. I think you could look online. There are some really great guides that will tell you like, okay, when you're going through this act, this is what you're looking for. This is the section you want to go down to. It happens every single league where when Ethan's running through, he's like, which one do I go to now? And I'm like, just hit those 2 and then just keep running through it. Like Act 2 is like notorious for it. And I can't remember which act in the, whatever that same act is in the after effect or whatever, like was that 6 maybe or something? I don't know.
6, I think.
Yeah. So that's my tip. Just, but mostly have fun. Have fun.
You've done that one before.
Yeah.
Have fun before.
Have fun.
Yeah, you can't say have fun again.
That's going to be my go-to when I'm like, I don't know, just have fun. All right, I think this is going to wrap episode 35 of Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. Thanks a lot for joining us. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Well, it's just going to go longer every time. You can check out below for our show notes. We have our website, foreverexiled.com. On the Twitter, foreverexiled82. You can find our link to our Patreon down below, to our Discord. Come join us in Discord. Have a great time. Like we said, be nice to each other. Be kind. Have fun.
Be helpful or shut up.
That's right. There's our banner. Yeah, don't use that as the title. Don't use that as the title. Thanks a lot for joining us for episode 35. For everyone, we will catch you in episode 36. Our patrons, we will catch you in After Dark. Happy Canada Day a couple days ago. Happy America Day. Independence Day, July 4th, a couple days ago as well. And hopefully you guys are good and enjoying Harvest.
Bye. I really wanted that to be the title. What about like Be Nice or Shove It?
You're just getting nasty.